This is an Andy and Cam ASMR video. We are going to talk about how to be an ethical player. How are you doing, Andy?
I'm doing really well. I kind of worry that if we whisper, it will be really hard to hear us.
This is true.
ASMR is good. Okay, so no more ASMR, ladies and gentlemen. I got Cam here, beautiful fucking ginger. I love all gingers, especially Cam. And we're going to talk about how to be an ethical player. So let's define terms, I guess, first. What are we talking about when we say ethical player? We're talking about a guy that's honest and upfront with women and has a decent amount of sex. Like, you're not really an ethical player if you're in a monogamous marriage. That's not an ethical player. Player is a guy that has a lot of sex, ethical, being nice about it. So why do we recommend this, man? Like, why do we talk about honesty? Why do we talk about being upfront with chicks? Why do we push that shit so much on my channel, on your channel, and in the coaching program?
I mean, I'll talk personally why this is the way I do it, and I guess that's your position too. We are pretty, I don't know what the word is, we're pretty non-pushy with our ethics, I would suggest. We are very, this is what we do. If you think this is going to work for you, we recommend that you can, model your approach on what we do. The reason is twofold for me. There's a strategic reason, and then like I guess a personal moral reason or personal ethical reason of I feel bad with some of the lying and what's the word? Basically just omission by lying by omission, sorry, and then just straight up lying that I caught myself doing at certain times in my past. I will say that I've actually never cheated on anyone in a relationship. That's not something that I've actually done personally, but I have been involved in situations where I've lied, like in relationships or to girls, never felt good about it. So there's the not feeling good about it side of things. And there's also the strategical stupidity of lying to girls, which if you're not going to take it from a this feels bad perspective, you can take it from a, okay, if you lie to them, you have to like keep track of all your lies. You have to make sure the lie is believable. You have to keep on you basically have to, for the rest of the relationship, either maintain a lie that you told or several lies that you've told, or, come clean and like own up to the fact that you lied to them. So I don't want to end up in that situation, and I feel bad when I lie. That's the real summation. And also, as I said, you and me want to be non-monogamous and have a lot of sex. So that's the other side of it. So those are the two things. I don't want to feel like a bad person. I don't want to use lies because I think it's easy to fuck up. And then I want to have a lot of sex and do it in a way that doesn't involve doing those things. That's the simple way.
And to add two more things, actually, I'll add three more things to that. One of the first one that comes to mind is when you're lying, or when you're just lying by omission and maybe not being completely upfront. Like, let's give an example. Maybe you're sleeping with multiple women, but you don't tell any of the women this. And in your brain, you rationalize it as like, well, I never promised monogamy. And it's like, yeah, but the average person is going to assume monogamy by default because that's what 99% of humans do. So it's not quite lying, but it almost is lying. We call that lying. We call it not being upfront. If you're lying, or you're hiding stuff, or you're just not being open and honest, when she eventually finds out, and notice I use the word when because almost every lie eventually gets uncovered, because you just have that one day you can't be bothered keeping up the lie, or like you said, you've forgotten all of the lies that you've told and then you let it slip. In that moment when she discovers that you're lying, or she thinks you're lying, you have now trained her, hey, if you're going to interact with me, I am going to lie to you. So why the fuck should she be honest with you? And so now she's going to go, okay, well, I'll just give you back what you have taught me. I will lie to you. And so now you will ask questions and you will never know if she's telling the truth. Or maybe you're trying to make a decision and you would like to have all of the pieces of the puzzle, but she holds some of those pieces back. You're trying to make a decision. Can't think of an example, but you're trying to make a decision and basically you're not sure that she's actually been upfront with you. You're not sure that she's deceiving you. You lower your retention as well when you're less honest. Because why the fuck do people don't want to stick around with lies. They'll put up with it if you're attractive enough or cool enough or whatever, but your retention massively lowers. There's also less drama, less pain later on. A big part of having a lot of sex, take a step back. One important goal for me, or one important thing in my life, has been having a sex life that I'm proud of, that I enjoy, having a lot of sex. That is so much easier when there's no drama. When there's no, how come you lied to me? Or when I don't have to sit there and wonder if she's fucking lying. And so a big part of it for me was literally just efficiency. Yes, lying doesn't feel good, but on top of that, it's just not fucking efficient if you're trying to have a lot of sex. I think a lot of guys think lying or maybe holding things back helps me get laid more. And it's like, motherfucker, have you tried to have sex like 10 times in a week? Have you tried to have sex with like 200 women? And I'm not saying that everybody needs to have that much sex, but when you're going for those higher numbers, most guys get into a point where they're like, fuck, this needs to be more efficient. I can't be having these big fucking blow up arguments. I can't have girls just randomly leaving because they find another girl's earrings in my bathroom and they get pissed off. I have to find a more efficient way of doing this. And honesty is just so fucking efficient.
I found a watch this morning. It's not to brag on fucking channel, but I found like at the foot of my bed, I just didn't realize this girl left her watch behind. And I was like, oh, I need that.
Yeah, girls just like rip their jewelry off.
Also perfume, smell of perfume and stuff.
Yep.
Like if I forget to wash the sheets, so there's like another smell of another girl like in this bed. And it's like, oh, it's already open that I am seeing other people that you can... I don't really use the term ethically non-monogamous like as a tag and like tell girls I am ethically non-monogamous, but that is the tag for this in some way that is understood online. That and you don't have to be like, hey, I am ENM, I am like polyam, whatever. You don't have to do that. You just have to be like, hey, I'm seeing other people. You're free to see other people. It's a really simple line that you can use. I think within our community, and I really want to push back on this, and I really want to. It's important to me that I give the other side of the argument because I see it around a lot that using leaving truth out and potentially lying is more effective as a form.
That's what people say. Yeah.
I am very frustrated when I see that. I've seen people use the terms I've seen people say guys should be more sociopathic because it's more effective. And that really annoys me. And it's made me want to kick people off the forum before to see stuff like that said. It's maybe, you know what I mean? It's just either we don't, because as I said, we try and have a certain amount of like free speech and free discussion on that front. But it is annoying to me to see people say that because I see it as a limiting belief rather than the truth.
It's a child's opinion.
It's a limiting
It's a child's opinion.
Sorry. The guys who say that haven't actually tried to be open and honest for any.
That's what I'm saying.
Time, or at least it's
a child's opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So. I don't know, especially like they think they can only get the hottest girls that way. And like,
I've seen that a lot too.
Yeah. You're going to fall back on limiting beliefs when you're having bad runs or bad periods. And this is one of those limiting beliefs that I think guys fall back on where they're like, if I just admit a lot of truth, I'll get further with girls. And there is a degree of truth there to that statement, but it's just not been my experience and your experience. And we've shown that it's possible to do it the other way. So I don't think, like, I don't know what to say sometimes in that argument because it's like you're setting yourself up.
Here's the haymaker. Here's the nail in the coffin. You say, okay, have you tried being honest for 1 to 2 years to really get good at it? Because it does take practice, and we'll talk about how to practice. Have you tried being honest for 1 to 2 years, completely upfront, completely honest, like you put everything in your Tinder bio, or you say it on the first date, like you're just fully putting yourself out there and owning who you are as a person and being ready, proud of who you are. And every single time the person says, oh, I tried being honest like a couple of times and the bitch broke my heart. And it's like, so no. So you haven't tried this for 1 to 2 years to get really good at this. You haven't embraced honesty. You haven't embraced being a free love fucking hippie who doesn't push anyone. You haven't tried libertarianism. You haven't tried any of that shit. You have tried one method, which is being, a little bit sociopathic or holding things back or just not being fully open. And because that's work, you've developed a superstition. You've said, well, I did this thing, which is being dishonest, and I got the results. Therefore, the only reason I got the results is because I did this thing. And it's like, oh, okay, well, let's just say you put on blue fucking pants this morning, and that's the reason why you got laid a lot. Do you wear your lucky underwear when you go out cold approaching? It's like you have to understand you're developing a fucking superstition.
Yeah,
and so we're men of science here.
Sorry, guys and overanalyze and make up reasons why girls didn't go for them as well. Like you didn't get a long list of feedback from that girl where she explained to you point by point why she rejected you. You just didn't. I know you didn't. I know you didn't get a good answer from a. You've never had.
And more to the point, you didn't do it at scale.
Yeah.
That's why I said 1 to 2 years.
But my point here is that guys make up so many limiting beliefs in their head for why they didn't get results. And this just like this whole, like, as you say, these sort of like seismic changes, if you've not really been someone who's been honest with girls, you need to give it 1 to 2 years of like learning.
It takes a long time to get good at being honest and vulnerable. And at first, when you're honest, you're often clumsy with it. And maybe sometimes you're too vulnerable is not the right word. You're too weak when you're vulnerable. Like there is an art to it. And I've done like 5 podcasts on this at this point. Just look up how to be how to be vulnerable while still being masculine. So I've done tons of content on this. But you're clumsy with it, and maybe it doesn't go well a couple of times, and you go, oh, look, see, this honesty thing doesn't work. Mind you, most of the time when people try honesty, it goes really fucking well, and they're like, holy shit, like, you telling me I don't have to play these fucking games, I can just be honest? And so you might have to give yourself 1 to 2 years. There's an article on my website called Honesty is an Ideal That You Work Towards. And what I say is just be a little bit more honest with every woman you date. So like right now, let's say you're not telling them at all that you're sleeping with multiple women. Okay, how can we improve that by 5%? What if you tell them after you've slept with them 3 times? And yeah, that's not perfectly ideal, but we're working towards that. You tell them after you sleep together 3 times, hey, by the way, I'm seeing other people. You're welcome to see, people if you want to, or just see me, whatever you want to do, whatever makes you happy. Now, the next girl that you date, can you try telling her after you've slept together twice? Can you work up the courage to do that? See how that goes. Then the next girl, can you say it after you've slept together once? Like as you're laying in bed after sex, just say it then. Then the next girl, can you try saying it before you have sex? So now she has all of the pieces of the puzzle up front before she's had sex with you. Then can you try putting it in your fucking Tinder bio? And you can just put ethically non-monogamous in your Tinder bio, or it can just come across in your Tinder bio and then you say it over text or you say it on the date. Like if you're obviously a player, like you dress like a fuckboy, you have pictures of hot girls in some of your pictures. Like it's pretty fucking obvious that you're having a lot of sex. Then that gets a lot of the message across. And then you just say it on the first date, or you say it over text, or you just throw it out there at some point. So you can get better at this over time.
Sorry, I'm going to be honest here. This is called How to Be an Ethical Player, but it's not really that complicated, to be honest, in terms of the way to do this. It's really not that complicated.
But it can be scary. It can be scary. It was fucking terrifying for me.
But it's not complicated. Okay, I'll give you like this. There's like 3 places. You just have to tell the girl the truth, which is I'm sleeping with other people or I'm seeing other people. It's so uncomplicated. There is no how-to guide for this. It is just do this repetitively until you're comfortable doing it. And also, frankly, you may have to lose some leads to understand it's not the end of the world to lose girls who aren't interested in seeing you because you're seeing other people. The problem I see is that guys want to get the girls who, they see girls saying, I want monogamous relationships. Like, well, I don't want a monogamous relationship, but I do want to sleep with this girl. That's where it's a problem. That's where it's like, I'm going to lie to this girl because she wants something different. Or I'm going to lead this girl on because she wants something different, but I really want to sleep with her. And that's a point where you and me are happy to lose those leads. Whereas a lot of guys, I feel, a lot of guys are uncomfortable losing leads to a point where they're willing to lie. And
you'll lose her. She'll leave anyway.
I want
the moment she.
Yes. But I want people to be comfortable losing leads and just talk to more girls because you want something different. And it's not fair to them. And it's not fair to you, at least from my point of view and the way I want to do my dating. So I want guys, realistically, I want guys to get rejected more. I want guys to lose more leads. I know that doesn't sound very nice, but I need you to get comfortable with the volume you're going to need to put in to find the girls who are into the same stuff you're into, that you're attracted to. It's just, it's one of those things where I want guys to get comfortable, letting girls go to some extent. And sorry, go on, Andy.
I want to tee off on that really quickly. I love this conversation of like losing leads. Every time this conversation comes up, I get so fucking fired up and I just want to hit a home run. Here's my fucking home run. Yes, some girls will not stick around when you're completely honest with them because they're just not looking for what you're looking for. They have a different mindset. That's beautiful. That's called screening. But here's the side of the equation that a lot of guys, or most guys who get into this debate, never fucking think about until they actually try honesty. When you are deeply honest, when you are completely authentic and upfront, you will screen a lot of girls in that never would have slept with you if you weren't honest. And so guys will sit there and go, man, I tried being honest, and these three girls that I talked to, they said they only want monogamy. And so I lost them. I should have just promised them. I should have just lied. Why did I do this honesty thing? And it's like, motherfucker, the next 3 girls that you talk to will say, wow, your honesty is so fucking refreshing. I am so sick of fuckboys, and you are the first person who has literally just told me, hey, I'm sleeping with other girls. I would have been completely okay with that with the 3 previous guys that I dated. dated, but they didn't fucking tell me. And I got it in my head that we were monogamous, and then we got to the point where I found out, and then I felt like a fucking idiot, and I hate fuckboys, and I felt so used and hurt and lied to and betrayed. And you being honest, yeah, I was always happy for men to stick their dick in other pussies as long as they told me. Thank you for telling me, yes, I'm going to date you. Yes, we can sleep together. I have had that conversation so many fucking times. And I know you have. I have, like, in my Tinder guide, I have a whole section at the start about honesty and being upfront. I have screenshots in there from girls that have said, wow, I love how honest and upfront you are. Wow, I fucking love this. Wow, thank you for just being honest with me. Yes, I'm going to go on a date with you. I wasn't going to go on a date with you, but the fact that you're so fucking honest, let's fucking do it. So you screen some people out, yes, because they're not looking for what you're looking for, or maybe they can't handle your honesty. Maybe they're used to lying themselves. Good. We want to get rid of those people. Why do you want to sleep with liars? And you screen in a lot of people that are like, man, thank you for being so fucking honest. This is what I've been waiting for, not having to play the games and just getting something that's nice and easy.
This is true. I would suggest that the truly open and honest relationships with girls I've had have been easily, by far and away, the best. I think if you haven't experienced this, it's something that you should do. And once you've experienced this a couple of times, you will never go back to lying. That's just my take on this. The sex is better. The relationship is better.
Sex is so much better.
Conversations are better. Everything you've had a problem with, guys, like, oh, the conversations are boring and they don't seem that deep, or like the sex is like, just, she doesn't really do anything that I want her to do. Yeah, because you don't have the level of honesty and openness that actually encourages that in a relationship. Yeah, the trust. So maybe if you start like risking a bit of honesty and a bit of trust, you'll experience the higher levels of relationships you can have, because you've probably only had that in a seriously dramatic way where like I just try it, guys. This is what I'm going to say to you all. Just try it. What have you got to lose? You know, like, what are you actually losing? So yeah, I want to, veer this towards like practically talking about the two different ways that you and I date, because there is a degree that you have to be way more open and honest in your situation.
Me, yeah. Because I'm in a relationship. Yeah.
Because you're in a relationship. But I feel like the way I date and my situation is probably more applicable to the general audience, but your situation is requires a lot more honesty. Like, I think I'm doing the very typical, I date multiple girls and they're all fairly casual. Like I have one girl that I've been seeing for 6 months, and by the nature of seeing someone for 6 months means it's a little bit deeper. We know a lot more about each other. We've hung out a lot more times. So that one is kind of like on another level to the other girls I'm seeing, but it's not where yours is, which is, here is me, here is my girlfriend, we have a joint profile. If you weren't honest about that, it'd be really weird. It'd be like, hey, like, it'd be your own profile and you're really like, hey, by the way, I've got a girlfriend and this is only going to be like at the end of a text message or something like that. Or even like come to the date and then you bring your girlfriend. You're like, by the way, girlfriend. Because you're like,
or just, and I'm sure this happens. I don't think this would be common, but I'm sure this has happened in history. You just don't even mention that you have a girlfriend.
What?
And you just like,
that's what I meant. Yeah.
You just don't have. No, I'm saying even more than that. I'd say there will be guys out there that have done this or think about this, where it's just like, so ignore the threesome component of what I do.
Oh yeah, you just
have a girlfriend on the side, and you just like essentially cheating. And maybe you tell your girlfriend, maybe you don't, but like you are just like not telling the girls that you're sleeping with.
The girlfriend's okay with it, but you're not telling the girls you see that you do have a girlfriend. Yes. Okay, that makes more sense. Sorry, I thought you'd be like, yeah, of course cheating has happened, Andy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
no. Yeah, I think this is really aimed at to be fair, this is really aimed at guys who just kind of cheat out of like, I guess, laziness, I guess, or whatever, or they don't want to build guys who are just in monogamous. Fear. No, but guys who are in monogamous, it's more than that. Guys who are in monogamous relationships and cheat, they haven't put the work in to build the life they actually want. In my opinion, a lot of them, they haven't sat down and been like, okay, I'm not someone who can really do monogamy. Maybe I should construct a life where I don't have to be trapped in a monogamous relationship, but I can still get what I want in that regard. It's more like lifestyle design or lifestyle building. And maybe they can look at this and they can look at like ethical non-monogamy and see a system, or they can look at you, at what you have with Imi, and see a replicable system that they can reproduce. And that was my vision for this kind of video that we're doing right now.
Yeah. And no hate. Let's take a step back. No hate for anyone that, is in that situation.
We're too hip.
We're not judging.
They hate people.
Yeah, I hope it comes across that we're not judging.
My problem is
here.
more. My problem is more guys who are influencing other guys to do it. I do have an issue with that. I do have an issue with guys who are proposing cheating and lying as a form of strategy or
hiding things. I think that's the most common thing that happens is just not being upfront. So they'd say, I haven't lied to anyone. It's like, but that's great, but there's a level above that where it's like being upfront and honest. And that's like what we're going for here. That's where the real juicy gold comes from, because that's when the girl feels like, holy shit, you've told me stuff that nobody else has told me. You've been honest and upfront. I feel like I can trust you. I feel like, for the most part, you're going to tell me basically everything. Yeah, I'm going to open up and tell you my kinkiest, wildest, filthiest fetishes. I'm going to open up about deep conversations about, I've always wanted to start this business, or, when I was young, I had this dream. You're going to have those deeper conversations, that deeper, more intimate sex, the kinkier, filthier sex. She's going to stick around for longer because now she's invested and you're invested in her. And she doesn't feel like you're just going to drop her on a whim, or you're going to deceive her or lie to her or ghost her or any of that. It's a relationship, even just a casual one, built more on trust. And every fucking aspect of a relationship, including the sex part, is orders of magnitude better when there's trust, especially if you guys are going to go down the path that I go down of BDSM. BDSM fucking requires trust. Like I did for the longest time. I wasn't super honest and upfront. I was working on it, which is why I have so much compassion and understanding if you're a guy or a girl who struggles with honesty and finds this shit scary. Yeah, I was there. Trust me. Again, go and read that article. Honesty is an ideal that you work towards. I talk about literally how to take the baby steps to becoming a more honest person. But as soon as I started seeing women as on my team, like on the same team as me, it's not me versus her, it's me and her together, man, all this shit just got so much easier. So I tried, or I wasn't fully honest and upfront at the start, and neither were you. We have now tried being super honest and upfront. It is orders of magnitude better, which is why, to circle back, I push back so much and I say it's a child's opinion when someone says, and maybe that doesn't sound fully compassionate and empathetic, but it's a naive, childlike, innocent opinion when you say, oh, but you have to like hold things back. You can't be fully open and honest. You'll lose girls. It's like, bro, for years I wasn't honest. And then for years I have been honest. And you have gone through the same thing. It's like, we literally have an A/B fucking test, and all of our clients and all of our friends and blah, blah, blah.
It is naive for some guys, but it is also, there are guys and there are dating coaches who know exactly what they're doing, which is for me a problem.
Yeah,
I know you want to hold back a bit. I'm happy to be the guy that says like.
But to me, you'd need to prove that. You know what I mean? It's that classic quote, never attribute to malice what can be explained by incompetence. Maybe we can rephrase that as never attribute to malice what can be explained by naivety. I think a lot of pickup artist coaches
sorry, I'll let you talk to say, but like
I was going to say, I think they're doing their best, man. Like I genuinely think that they believe the things that they're saying. Like I genuinely think, I don't think that they're sociopathic. Sure, I'm sure there must be some out there, but I think the vast majority of them are just hurt. I think that they've gone through painful things, which I did too, so did you. And their reaction to that pain was, I need to close myself off. I need to steel myself and be like a rock, and I cannot let any women in because they hurt you. And that's beta, and that's being a simp and all of that. I have to steel myself and have these rules, and I can't be honest. I have to lie. I have to do push-pull. I have to do negging. I have to do all these games. I think for some weird reason, I went through that period, and then I was like, maybe I can just drop all this bullshit. And through divine fucking intervention or whatever it is, I was like, what if we just try being honest?
Yeah.
And you went through the same shit.
My ire is mostly for the people who should know better, to be honest. Like not for the people who are like
yeah, but you can't, like, you don't know what you don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Someone who's been running like a professional service for like 10 years, coaching this stuff, it's
wouldn't that be the person who would be most set in their ways though? Isn't that the person who's almost like the least likely to change?
Yeah, but they would have had feedback at that point.
Yeah, yes. And they would have had some nice, sweet little girls. I can think of like Roosh V as a good example.
They're ignoring feedback. I don't want to name anyone. I'm just, people are ignoring feedback on this, like in terms of like what it does and what damage it does. and like they're ignoring feedback from like society. There's an idea of like this is like society's like rules or whatever. It's like I don't believe it is. I believe it's something to do with your soul almost when you tell lies.
Yeah.
Like that's, to be honest, like that's how I feel deeply. I feel about how damaging it is to your like your personal sense of self-worth, your like whatever you want to believe. If you believe spirituality or whatever like that, there is something that damages you when it comes to this sort of thing. So yeah, and I want you to talk about that from your like early experiences. I know I want to bring this to your experiences when you had your relationships where you cheated and you were lying and all that stuff. And like, you've spoken very well about how much you felt like that damaged you. And I think maybe that would be a good place.
It never felt good while I was doing it. And that's why, you know, a part of my channel and part of your message too is we don't say what you should do or shouldn't do. We give recommendations quite a lot, but we're always going to say, listen to the internal feedback mechanism. Like your body or your soul, as you said, has this beautiful fucking feedback mechanism where it'll tell you if you liked something or didn't like something. It'll tell you something feels good or doesn't feel good. And sometimes some guys don't have a set of principles, and that's okay. Come up with your own principles, you know, maybe sit down on a day when you've got some time and think, what kind of person do I want to be? When I'm at the end of my life, when I'm on my deathbed, what kind of man do I want to have been? Or what kind of woman do I want to have been? What are my principles, in other words? And then you can sort of, when you have that, it's like your compass, and you can sort of say, are my actions lining up with my principles? These principles are my compass. They show me which way to go, or they're like the northern light, and they point me in the right direction. Are my current actions lining up with the principles? And when I get people to do this exercise of what are your principles, bro, basically everyone says, I want to be honest. Like, I've not had someone that's like, no, my principles are just to deceive and lie. And so if you can get people to think of a higher calling, like what kind of person do I want to be? When I look back on my entire fucking life, like when I zoom out from where I am right now in the moment, I feel like lying because I just want to get my dick wet and I'm desperate and I'm caught up in the moment. But if I take a step back and say, no, 10 years from now, will I be happy if I looked back and I lied to every woman? 20 years from now, 50 years from now, will I be happy that things I did in my 20s or 30s? When I'm an 80-year-old man, no, I'll probably think I was a scared, angry, bitter little boy. And that's okay. Like a lot of us have been there. I've been there. But I like to pull it back to principles and say, what kind of person do I want to be? So when I was in that phase of cheating, I cheated on 2 women. And when I would think of the person that I wanted to be in the future, there was so much cognitive dissonance. It was like, well, then why am I fucking cheating? And so I would hate myself, hate myself. And I would swear to fucking God that I wouldn't do it again. And I would go periods of time. There were like 3 months or 6 months where I would just not do it. And then it would slowly creep up on me in the depression and all of that. Not that that's an excuse, but that was the state of mind that I was in. All of that shit would build up and I'd go, fuck it, I'm just going to do this thing. I was like a fucking animal. And I would just go and do that. And then I would hate myself again. And it's probably part of the reason why I was so fucking suicidal, right? Was living this weird fucking cognitive dissonance between who I wanted to be and who I was currently being. There was such a fucking gap there. And I've seen this so much with guys that are deceiving women. I think you can get caught up in, this is fun, man. I love doing this. Yeah, I got my dick wet again. Yeah. And it's like, if I can get you to just pause for half a second and tell me the man or the person that you want to be, everybody says, all right, fuck, this isn't lining up with who I want to be. And they'll rationalize it and they'll say, this is just part of the game, baby. Yeah, I'm not this person. I'm a good person. Not that I think you're bad if you lie, but they'll say, I am a good person, but I have to do this to get laid. Or they'll say, this is just temporary. This is just a phase. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to settle down. Another thing to think is, if you're practicing dishonesty in casual relationships or when you're sleeping with multiple people, what happens when you get to the point where you're like, hey, I might want to settle down now. I might want to, get past that phase of my life and I might want to have a wife, have a kid. You have practiced dishonesty with women and just, I guess, with people in general. What happens when your children ask you a question? Your default state is going to be to lie. What happens when your wife asks you a question? Your default state is going to be to lie. What happens when your best bro comes up to you and is like, hey, bro, like, can you tell me the honest answer to this? You've practiced deception. You have made it easier for yourself to lie in future. And I think most of us don't want to be a liar. We like to think of ourselves as honest truth tellers. That's why even the biggest liars on the fucking planet, which is probably Can you tell me who's the biggest?
No.
No.
You were
Who
like
do you
that.
think
I
is
was
the biggest?
the biggest liar?
No. I meant I was handing the floor to you. Who do you think are the biggest fucking liars on the
Do you want me
planet?
to say politicians, Andy? Do you want me to say politicians?
There you go. Perfect, correct answer.
Okay.
They rationalize constantly. You see them doing it, you hear them doing it, and I don't think it's a PR stunt. I think it comes from the heart. They constantly rationalize why the lie they have just told was for the greater good. Because we don't like to think of ourselves as liars. Even sociopaths don't like to think of themselves as liars.
This is the problem. Like, by any means necessary, like is the issue I see kind of
all roads. Yeah.
The problem behind the whole lie to get girls is like any means necessary. I just want to get the girl. I don't care what I do to get the girl. Like, I don't care what I have to fucking do, short of obviously like going against her will and her consent and all that stuff. I want to do everything short of like breach. I want to do everything short of like non-consensual. Okay, so like everything short of that is like up to manipulation and lying, which is guys are like, do I like her enough to go through with the destruction I'll do to myself and to her to do that? And I think unfortunately throughout time we've seen that there are lots of men who are willing to be practicing.
I think it's a mindset thing more than anything. Like as you said, it's not massively complicated.
Most of this video has been arguing why you should be truthful. So the video title might just be like why you should be, why we don't want to say should, do you? But like the argument for being an ethical player maybe is probably a better argument title for this. How to and the argument for being an ethical player.
I think it's just a mindset thing, dude. It's realizing that women are on your team. Like it's not, I'm going to do a podcast soon called It's Not a Boxing Match, It's a Dance. I think a lot of people, men and women, see dating or having sex as a boxing match. Like it's me versus her. We have to trade blows and then whoever knocks the other one out wins. You know, either she wins commitment or he wins sex. Like there's just a toxic fucking mindset. It's a dance. It's two people that want the same thing coming together. It's yin and yang. I think other mindsets.
I feel bad for girls with the social pressure to say, I will only accept monogamous relationships. And I think a lot of them are not being truthful about it as well. Like I feel like that's an unfortunate false dichotomy that we're in of like men only want casual and women only want monogamy, when like that's just not true in my experience. But I think a lot of social pressure is behind the reason why girls have no hookups on their Tinder. Also, the behavior of men on online dating apps as well. I understand like some guys just aren't some guys get drunk and just send the stupidest shit on Tinder. And you and me have tested stuff that is kind of stupid. I remember you had that bit where you were just like anal question mark.
I just text anal question mark.
But that was how many months you were trying?
I did that for a while. I like did that quite a bit.
That was an experimental phase though. You were like testing like what actually works as an opener. I think we could have guessed that work. I think we could have guessed that wouldn't work. Yeah. It's very
it didn't work for me. Let's be clear. It didn't work for me. It'll probably work for someone else.
It's very for like
it's not what we recommend.
If Brad Pitt sent anal question mark to a girl, how many do you think would be like, yeah?
Okay. Sure, I'm just not enough of a Chad.
Let's
bring it back on point. Other sort of mindsets. I want to blast through a couple of mindset things. You know, having the mindset of I want to leave every woman better than I found her. And any women listening, I want to leave every guy better than I found him. And you won't do it with 100% of people, but just having that kind of intention with every person that you date. Like I want to be good to them.
Or at least cause no harm.
I still go there. I feel like if you aim for that, the best case scenario is you do no harm, and then you probably fall short of that and do a little bit of harm. That's why I like to aim really high of like, I'm going to leave them better than I found them. So even if I fail,
you come from a mentoring side of things where you want that though. There are going to be a lot of guys that don't really want to mentor the girls they see. So it's more like give her a good experience.
You can still just be kind and have good sex and just be honest. Being honest as a player, like if you're just honest about the fact that you're dating other women, if you're just honest about the fact that you want to have sex with her, if you're just honest about all of this shit, man, if you're honest about the fact that you want to keep it casual, that's something we didn't mention. Be honest about that as well. Just say like, I like to keep it casual. We're not going to be boyfriend, girlfriend. I'm not going to see you like 5 times a week. If you're just honest about that, bro, that's leaving her better than you found her. Because then, she can go, holy shit, the next time I need an honest guy, because I just had a taste of honesty. It's fucking amazing. I'm not going to put up with fuck boys or liars anymore. Like I need this honesty shit. This is amazing.
You and me have wrong word. You and me have experienced and met cynical girls off the dating apps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Girls who have clearly been fucked over, or you know, I mean, that this is actually quite common if you meet someone who's like experienced with online dating apps. Yeah, and yeah, it makes me sad to like when I meet a girl who's clearly so guarded and so like unwilling to believe you're honest. And then it's really refreshing actually when you get someone who's like a bit more inexperienced with the apps, because they're made way more like open and like willing to like, you know, willing to put themselves out there. But yeah, it's a stark difference when you meet someone who's clearly like been like, you know, lied to or manipulated, or has just met people who are clearly full of shit repeatedly off the dating apps. And I do agree with you that if you're open, honest, and it's good sex and it's a good time for her, you have probably left her better off than even if you guys don't form a relationship. She will be better off for that experience. So yeah, on that level, yes. But yeah, I'm not going to build like a big mentoring relationship with every girl I see. And I don't think that's what you were saying anyway. So
no. I think let's handle the back end of honesty and being an ethical player, because we talked about the front. We've talked about being honest and upfront. We haven't talked about the back end, which is retention. That's another area. I think it's probably even the more common area where guys will not lie, but just not be fully honest. And so maybe she'll sort of be starting to drop hints, or maybe she'll even directly say, like, where is this going? Like, I kind of want to know what the fuck this is. Is this casual? Like, are you ever going to be my boyfriend? Like, I just want to get it right in my head, and I'm happy with either option. Or maybe she isn't. Maybe she wants an option. But bless you, good sir. But she basically wants to know, like, I feel like I'm in the dark here. I don't know what the fuck is going on. And you solve that conversation 9 times out of 10 by just being honest and upfront. But I see a lot of guys that have maybe not been super honest and upfront, or maybe they get to this point where, you know, she's saying, what is this? And they will not quite lie, but they will just push off the conversation a little bit. They'll kick the can down the road, so to speak, and they'll say, we'll deal with this later. They'll say, like, you know, I'm not having this conversation, or they'll change the subject, or they'll sometimes even just say something to appease her, like, well, kid, I really like the way this is going, so, you know, just hang in there, kiddo, and maybe one day we could be boyfriend, girlfriend, but just not now, kiddo. And then she's like, okay. That is the moment where I would be deeply fucking honest. I mean, I'd be honest at the front, but definitely be honest in those moments of like retention. And in those, you can kind of preemptively do that by just telling her multiple times, you know, during the casual relationship, you know, by the way, I'm really liking where this is going. I like being casual. You know, I'll be honest with you. I'm probably not looking for something serious. Or if you are looking for something serious, you can say, you know, I might one day be looking for something serious, but I'm thinking roughly 6 months or 12 months. And that's not a promise. Like, just be fucking honest, right? About roughly where you're going, or roughly what's in your head. In other words, just what is in your head, get that out with her. If you have no intention of ever being monogamous with her or ever being serious with her, like, you literally just see her as, like, you know, friends with benefits, just fucking say that. Just say, I really like this, you know, I am just looking for something casual. I'll be honest with you, that's not going to change. So don't get it in your head that it will. And if you ever get feelings, or you feel like you're really starting to want something more, we can just fucking talk about it. Like don't be afraid of your feelings. Please talk to me about this shit. And we can either stay together and figure out a way to make it work, or, you know, we can end things. We'll be happy. We'll be amicable. I would rather you be happy with someone else than unhappy with me. So it's about just saying what's on your fucking mind and saying what you actually want. And I think a lot of guys bury their head in the sand when that conversation comes up. Yeah. And they go, oh my God, like, fuck, she's going to leave. She's going to leave. And it's like, not necessarily. Like, most of the time when I have that conversation, she's like, thank you for the honesty. I'm going to keep seeing you for another fucking year because you've been honest. Thank you.
You're talking, Andy, sorry, you're talking very flippantly about this conversation in some regard. And so would I, because you and I have had this conversation a few times, but the first time you ever have this conversation, it's fucking terrifying. So I want to emphasize right here that I get it, guys. It's fucking terrifying to have that particular conversation with a girl that you've got attached to for you maybe don't want anything serious with her, but you've been seeing her for 6 months or something. She's been really reliable. And now you've got to sit down and have a conversation where, there's a real chance you lose her from this conversation. Like, there's a real serious chance that this conversation is the end of your relationship with this girl. And that is terrifying for many men when they have never been in this position, having this honest conversation. And I don't want us to talk. No, I wasn't trying to criticize you there, but like, we can't talk about this conversation if it's the first time a guy's done it, as if this is easy and this is like something that you won't be anxious to have. I fully emphasize that this, I would say, is more difficult than being honest at the front. This is the bit that really, like,
There's more emotion there usually.
Yeah,
For
that's what I
most
mean.
guys.
That's why it's more difficult. This is something that guys kick the can down the road on. You know,
I think that's why they do it.
yeah.
I don't think it's always like malicious. I think it's just like, fuck, I really like her. I don't want her to leave. I'm between a rock and a hard place. I have to just kick the conversation down the road, or she leaves me right now. It's like, no, there's a third option where you're honest and, you know.
Where do you stand on instigating this conversation versus having it when she instigates it? Because that's what I see is that, like, don't have this conversation until it's instigated. Or
I am upfront, so I personally just say it. I mean, it's fucking obvious right from the start, but I'll have this conversation multiple times, like maybe every couple of weeks, or if I sense that she's getting feelings, or if I sense that she's starting to pull away, which some girls will do because they don't want to get hurt. And so I will just have this conversation, multiple times. Like, there's no set plan. I don't have it on like week 3, I must say this. But I'll remind her, you know, if you get feelings, that's cool. Like, we'll just talk about it. By the way, like, you know, are you happy? I'll basically have that conversation. I'll be like, look, I really like you. You're really chill. This is really fucking fun. This brings a lot of joy to my life. I really like sleeping with you. I like hanging out with you. You're a cool person. Are you happy? Is there anything that I could do that would improve it? Is there anything that you could do that could improve it? Like, let's have that growth mindset, that self-improvement mindset with this casual relationship. Let's build something fucking great, even if it's just a casual relationship. Let's have the best goddamn casual relationship of all time. So yeah, I will preemptively have that conversation. What about you?
You touch base. That's what I meant. Like, you touch base regularly. Yeah, I say there are times that I have messed this up, I believe, and it's something that, like, I would say I'm less experienced with relationships than you, because you've had longer relationships than I've had, and you built something with Imi.
Sure.
But like, I have had situations where I was honest at the front, and I assumed basically that was in stone, and she wouldn't always remember that conversation, and then we wouldn't have to have that conversation again. And so it's like, but you can't. There's a degree of, like, if you get 6 months down the line, referring to a conversation 6 months ago is a little bit of it's going to be not going very well for you, because it's like, but that was 6 months ago. Haven't things changed? So there is a degree of, like, I agree with you, touching base, maybe not every 2 weeks, but like, because I only see this girl I only see my girls like every week or so. So that'll be like every 2 times we see each other, but like something like every like month and a half, or like every 2 months or so, just make sure that, like, you know, it's
you're just still checking in.
We're still on the same page, still part of the same team, like you said. It's like teams have like team talks, you know, it's the same thing. It's like state of the union address. Like, what is the state of
And if you go into it, like I said, you go into it with that mindset of like, how can we make this even better? And so, you know, you could sit there in that moment and say, you know, I'm super fucking happy. Are you happy? Like, is this fun? Are you having fun? How can we make this even better? Like, here's a really good way of making it better. How about if you haven't already done this, how about we write like a sexual bucket list? You write all the shit that you want to try. I write all the shit I want to try. And every time we meet up, we'll do that shit. You can also do things like, on my phone, I have an app. It's called Party Cues. And it has a bunch of like really deep and meaningful questions. I would just play around with that. I fucking love asking girls like really deep questions. Like, what is your biggest childhood dream that you had that you gave up on? And why did you give up on it? Like shit like that, like actual deep fucking questions. What do you think the meaning of life is? Do you think this is all a simulation? Is Elon Musk like the godfather, the like granddaddy of our simulation? Is fucking... You ask these deep fucking questions. And so there are ways to improve a relationship. I'd have that mindset when you go into these talks, rather than just saying like, I'm just checking, like, are you okay? Is everything okay? Like, don't go into it with the mindset of, oh my God, this could be the moment where she says she's not happy anymore. No. Go into it with the mindset of like, let's play to win, baby. Like, yes, this is a casual relationship. Yes, I'm seeing other people, but how do we make this casual relationship even more special, even more awesome, even more like just fucking kick ass? How can we, even if that's just sex, how can we make it better?
Yeah, I agree.
I think one thing that really helps, like we were going to talk about, or you said before, you felt like we didn't give a lot of how-to advice. I think probably the thing that happens or helps the most is just going through it a few times, having these conversations, practicing honesty, realizing you get better at it, giving yourself permission to suck. We do not expect any of you to be fucking perfect with it. We weren't. We were clumsy as shit. An abundance mentality helps. It's why I wrote that article. The solution to all your problem is go talk to more women.
Yeah, you're not going to care about losing leads if you can get 7 more like the same evening, you know what I mean? So
and self-improvement too helps with that, because it's like, I don't care if this woman doesn't want to see me anymore. That's beautiful. I like who I am. I love who I am. I'm really happy with myself. There will be someone else out there. There's plenty more fish in the sea.
The drive to lie in any means necessary is scarcity mindset, in my opinion. And the problem with that is like it's hard to explain to someone who's starving in the desert, like not to do anything they can.
You have a scarcity mindset, bro, and it's like, I haven't drunk water in 5 days, bro. And it's like, bro, you just have to have abundance mentality. You just have to understand that there's water over that hill in the desert. Bro, come on. Like, you're not being loving. You're not being peaceful. So we do get it, trust me, especially as people that have been there. But we're trying to show you that there's a better way, or there's a more peaceful, loving way.
If you're stuck in a scarcity mindset, then I would suggest that you look into the coaching group where we can start.
What a segue.
On and fix the scarcity you're feeling in dating. And that will be the best way for you to transition into being a more ethical player, because you'll have so many options. You don't care if you lose girls. Andy and I will be hands-on support for you for the entire 3 weeks.
We'll get our hands all over you. Our hands will just be on you like fucking crazy. You have no idea how much Cam's, big fucking meaty paws and my fucking greasy hands will just be on you, like helping you, coaching you. Like the hands don't come off you basically, even when you're on a date.
But yeah, look up for the coaching group. There's a link down below where you can find out more details.
Abso-fucking-lutely. On that note, holy shit, dude, I've been putting in the price up of the coaching like every time someone new signs up, and I fucked up the other week. Like I put it up on one page but not the other page, and so some guy's like, bro, like which fucking price is it? And I was like, oh god damn it, I'll give it to you at the lower price. So it's going up so quickly that I don't even know how much it is. I said to Imogen last night, how much is the coaching again? And I had to go and fucking check. So I'm not even going to say how much it is right now, because it's probably just going to go up again.
Can guys still lock in their price if they can't start right now? Is that something you want to do?
Yes. So if somebody emails me right this fucking second and pays at least a $1,000 deposit, I will lock in the price that it is right now. I think I told you, I've had like fucking 3 people in the last week that have been like, dude,
I can't start. Like that seems to be a big problem of like guys are like, it's not a good time for me to start this right now, but I don't want to like.
Yeah, dude, these guys are not starting for these guys are not starting for 2 months.
I mean, if you're like, I'm going to be stuck in like rural Minnesota for the next 5 months, I understand why you might not want to get into like a dating and self-improvement group. So that does make a lot of sense. Yeah. Especially like the farm hands in Alaska. Although we have actually helped a guy that lived in rural Alaska. So
yeah. I can't wait till we have. Okay, here's the bucket list of people, of like clients that I want to work with. I want to work with just like a bunch of weird people that I can think of. Like I want to work with someone that lives in like some fucking pygmy tribe or something in some like small South Asian country. And he's like, bro, there's like 5 people in my village. How do I slay like the fucking chief's daughter? And we'll be like, all right, son, listen, this is how you need to fucking, I want that. Whatever. I don't fucking know geography or history or anything. I just want to get a pygmy tribe guy laid, all right? Okay? I want him to slay the fucking, and they walk around with their titties out all the time. Like oh, fuck yeah. Like, that's the shit I want.
Every single state in America. As far as I'm aware, Hawaii, I've not heard of anything from Hawaii yet. I've not heard, like, most of the Midwest we seem to have skipped. It's mostly been coastal. And
I want someone from, like, United, like somewhere in, I want Africa. We've had a couple of African dudes, so maybe that doesn't even count. But, like, they're living in Africa right now.
You've had a South African client, because I've had one. I think he worked with you as well.
It doesn't. Yeah, South Africa feels like,
yes, it counts. South Africa counts. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but I want one of the how do I say this in a politically correct way?
No, South Africa is okay. If you're going to say sub-Saharan, South Africa is literally sub-Saharan. So you can't.
No. But I'm trying to say, I'm trying to talk.
And they're mostly all colonial. So you can't even have that either.
That was what I was going to say. Yeah.
No, they're all ex-colonial. So how are you going to get that?
Okay, fine. Ignore South Africa.
What do I want? I want Polynesian, if that's possible.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I want someone from like the Middle East.
In like
some Iraqi or Afghanistan motherfucker.
There have been lads from Pakistan on the forums. I've seen like 3 guys from Pakistan on the forums. So that might be doable. I'd really be interested to see what the dating scene is like in a very like restrictive country. So like if we can help someone who lives in like the Philippines is pretty restrictive, and we've helped guys from the Philippines, but I want someone from like Saudi Arabia or something, so we can figure out like,
but
how would you
zoom out a little bit? Zoom out a little bit, not just dating, business. What I want is to coach a guy from a third world country, or maybe like a war-torn country, who literally can barely fucking eat rice or something, but maybe has a smartphone or he has the internet. I want to coach a dude like that to build a business, and maybe we'd have to do something like this. And if anybody's listening, like, we are absolutely willing to do this. If you give us a good pitch and you write a really solid fucking email and you're clearly someone that takes action, I would be willing to like delay the payment or take a percentage of your earnings or something. Like we figure out something and we essentially give you coaching. Like, it wouldn't be for free because there would be a percentage that we earn once you make it. And we would get you the fuck out of that country or move you to a bigger city or get you fucking wealthy. I'd love to see some guy that lives on like fucking $50 a month or something get his income up to like $5,000 a month. And that's very fucking easy. Like, doing jobs on Fiverr and shit. Lots of Filipino people, you know, I have a couple of Filipino virtual assistants. So that's on the bucket list. I would love to work with someone who is gay. I think I've said that before. I'd love to work with a gay dude.
You've had bisexual clients, like more than one now.
I'd love to work with a gay guy who doesn't just want to have a lot of sex, because that's fucking easy when you're gay. Like, the average gay guy has had sex with something like 500 partners or something fucking nutty. But no, that's go look up the studies, bro. It's insane. And it's like 20% of gay dudes have had sex with more than 1,000 people.
Pressing X for doubt on that one.
No, dude, go fucking look this shit up. But a guy that wants like a relationship.
As a style coach, as a stylist for like men, I always wanted to get like a trans man who like wanted to dress.
That'd be fucking sick.
Like
yeah.
It was like, oh, I like the kind of like the male fuckboy like image.
Like Mulan, the Disney movie.
What? Oh,
Mulan. Yeah, no, that's what you want. Like, you want some chick that's like,
hey, I'm transitioning to man and wants to like.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like
Mulan.
There's not. Stop mocking my vision for a potential client, please, Andy. I'm not
like a stylish Mulan.
I'm not mocking your weird imperialist take on let's get some guy from the third world and like make him like Western. That's very.
Yeah, that's what I want. The West, baby. Fuck yeah.